Okay. Okay. In the previous sessions, we learned about async task and async task loaders, like how to handle the background tasks. So if you want to run any, if you want to do any background task, you need to know about the async task and async task loader. So that we have discussed in the previous sessions. So now we will see how to connect to the internet. So this is the background task. Connecting to the internet means it is running to the background task. Okay, what all the applications in Android applications will be have will fetch the data from the data where the user interacts with. Okay, like if you want to have weather information, or if you are running with any game data, or likewise, so that you need to interact with the internet. So how we need to connect to the internet? Okay, so there are some steps to connect to the internet. So maybe you need to have a permission. Okay, you need to have a permission where that permission can be written in the Android manifest file. And second step is to you need to check with the network connection. Third step, you need to work with, you need to create a worker thread. Okay, what are all the background tasks will be running that you need to run in the worker thread, not in the main thread or the UI thread. So the fourth step is to implement the background task. You need to implement background task. What are all the background tasks means? You need to create a URI, uniform resource indicator, and you need to have a make an HTTP connection, and then you need to connect and get the data. This is all the implement background task. And the last step is to you need to process the result. What all the data you have got it, you need to process that result, and you need to parse that result to display on the UI thread, okay, or the user. So let's see one by one how we need to do all those things. Okay, first, before that, we need to see about the network security. Okay, network security are the risky process. Okay, because why the network security is a risky process? Because it involves like data where you could be the data could be of private to the users. Okay, so there will be a chance of risky. Okay, well, the device performs, and when the network transaction is happening, the uh, risk will be more for the private data. So when you are implementing the applications, we need to keep the user data secure for all the times whenever it is going to connect with the internet. So the developer should keep the implement in such a way that the user's data should be secure at every time, at all the times. Okay, so what are all the best practices for network operations? Okay, how we can do that? So security best practices for network operation is use appropriate protocol for sensitive data. Okay, so for example, if you are having a web traffic, okay, so in Android there is a class called HTTP URL connection. Okay, there is an inbuilt class called HTTP URL connection. Within that there is a subclass HTTPS URL connection. So you need to use a protocol HTTPS URL connection subclass. Okay. So next practice is use HTTPS instead of HTTP anywhere that HTTP is supported on the server. So it means that whenever you are implementing, you need to use HTTPS connections. Okay. So why? Because mobile devices are frequently connecting to the insecure networks. Maybe so. Maybe your mobile devices may connect to the insecure networks or the open Wi-Fi networks also. So that's why you need to use HTTPS protocol. So to do that, we need to use SSL socket class. Okay, we need to. There is a class in the Android where that is SSL socket class. Where this class is used to implement authenticated encrypted socket level communication. Okay, by using this class, you can have a authenticated and encrypted socket level communication. So next is don't trust data downloaded from HTTP or other insecure protocols. As we commonly know that we should not download the data from the HTTP or any other insecure protocols. So this is a network security. Okay, so next step is how to give the permission. Okay, so how to include the permission to have a connectivity. So where you need to include the permission in your manifest file, that is Android manifest.xml file. Okay, so when we are making a network call in our application, okay, we need to include a permission in the Android manifest.xml file. So how to include the permission? We need to add a tag. Okay, so we need to add a tag, that is user permission Android name android.permission.internet. This is the main thing where you need to add to the manifest file, where within the manifest file there is a manifest tag. Within the manifest tag you need to add user tag, where with the attribute Android name with the value android.permission.internet. Okay, and also you need to monitor the network state of the device. Okay, and also you need to monitor the network state of the device, so that it cannot, don't attempt to make network calls. So whenever there is no availability of the network call should not be done. Okay, so for that, to access to the network state of the device, okay, to access to the network state of the device, you need to add an additional permission. Okay, so that is android.permission.access underscore network underscore state. This is, you need to add to the manifest file. If you want to access the network state of the device, you need to add android.permission.access underscore network underscore state. So if you want to connect to the network, you need to add the permission android.permission.enter. So next you need to perform the network operation. Okay, you need to perform the network operations. How you are going to perform on the worker thread? So remember that when you are running any background task in your application, that should run on only the worker thread, not the UI thread. So whatever the code you will write, that should be separate from the UI thread when you are working with the background thread. Okay, we need to perform the network operation on a worker thread. That is, we should not perform on the UI. That is separate from the UI. We should perform the operations. See, in the Java code, as in the previous session, I said in the Java code, we are going to write an async task, where or the async task loader. We will implement that. Okay, so implementation that opens the network connection and queries an API. See, we need to implement the async task loader, where by using this async task loader, we can have an open the network connection. So if you run network operation on main thread, what happens? You will get an error. Okay, that app won't work properly. So after performing the operations on the network, you need to have a connection. Where you want to make a connection, you want to make a connection to the HTTP. Okay, we need to have a HTTP connections. Okay, so most network connected Android apps, what are all the most network connected Android apps is there? They will be using HTTP and HTTPS. Why? To send and receive the data over the network. Okay, these are all the two protocols where it is going to use to send the receive the data over the network. Okay, see, if the web server offers HTTPS, okay, if the web server is offering an HTTPS connection, we should use HTTPS connection only. Okay, we should not use HTTP, where HTTPS is an improved security over the HTTP connection. So the HTTP, there is a class, as I said, there is a class HTTP URL connection. Okay, so this the class where it is going to be supported in an Android that supports HTTPS. Okay, HTTPS. See, the HTTP URL is an Android client where it supports an HTTP, like streaming, uploads, and downloads. When you are streaming within a uploading, or when you are streaming with the downloading, or if you're having configurable timeouts, or when you're having IPv6 and connection. To use HTTP URL connection client, we need to build an URL. Okay, when we are going to use an HTTP URL connection, okay, when we are going to use an HTTP URL connection, so we need to build the URL. Okay, we need to build URL. So then after building an URL, then we can obtain a connection. Okay, how? By sending the request and any request header, then you can download or read the response. Okay, likewise afterwards you need to disconnect the connection. So as I said, when we want to use an HTTP URL connection client, we need to build an URI. So how we are going to build an URI? So to build an URI, to open an HTTP connection, you need to build a request URI. Okay, when you open a HTTP connection, within that we need to build URI where that URI is a request URI. Okay, what is that URI? So URI is usually made up of a base URI. URI means uniform resource identifier. URL is uniform resource locator. And URI is usually made up of a base URL and also a collection of query parameters. Okay, and also a collection of query parameters where this query parameter is going to satisfy the response in a question. Okay, where it is going to satisfy the response in a question. See, for example, okay. So to construct a request URI programmatically, how we are going to construct an URI, how we are going to build an URI. So we need to construct an request URI programmatically. So for if you want to have a build and request URI programmatically, then we need to use method URI.parse method. Okay, then we need to use a method URI.parse method. So with that method, we need to use build upon method and append query parameter method. We need to use build upon and append query parameters method. So this is an example. This code, this below code builds the URI. Okay, the below code shows the how to build an URI. So initially you will be having an URI where you are using with a string. Okay, so this is the main part where you're going to build. So build the query URI limiting results to 5 items and printed books. Okay, so URI object for that URI URI.parse method. Okay, when you are going to request URI programmatically, you need to use URI.parse. So whatever the string you have been created, you need to pass that string. Along with that method, you need to use build upon and you need to append the parameters. Okay, what all the parameters are there, you need to append those parameters. Build upon dot append query parameter. See what are the query parameters? These are the strings what you have been used. Okay, q max results print type. So parameter for searching the string, parameter to limit the search results. Okay, maximum results what you have to do search, parameter to filter by print type. Okay, this is all you need to append the parameters and end you need to build the method dot build. So for every query parameter you need to append it. Okay, dot append query parameter dot append query parameter. Right. So after performing the operation, so you will get the data. Okay. So what are the URI you are going to convert? You need to convert those URI to string. Okay. What are the URI you will get from the URI? What are the data you are going to get? You need to convert that URI to the string. How you are going to convert? By using a method toString. Okay. It is going to convert the data to the string. This is how you are going to build a URI. So next, you need to connect and download the data. Okay, you need to connect and download the data. So as I said, you are going to perform the operations on the worker thread when you are having a network transactions. Okay, so for example, in the async in the previous session, as I said, while performing a network of background task in an async task, we will be using a method do in background method. Okay, we will be using do in background method. Okay, so where here you need to use HTTP URL connection class. Okay, where we are here when you're having a connect, when you want to connect, you need to use an HTTP URL connection class. Why this class? To perform an HTTP GET request and download the data as your app needs. Okay, what are all the requirement? What all the data you want to get as a request? You are going to send through the URI. As I said here, you will build a URI and you will send the request. Here, you need to use HTTP connection class where you're going to perform the HTTP GET request and download the data your app needs. So how we are going to do? First, you need to obtain new HTTP connection URL connection. Okay, first we need to obtain the new HTTP URL connection. So after that, you are going to call, open that. Next, you are going to open that connection. So how you open that connection? You are going to call, if you want to open the connection, you want to call URL.open connection method. Okay, you want to call URL.open connection method. So then after opening the connection, we need to use the URI, that what all the, see, as you build this URI, so after that then you need to pass the result to the HTTP URL connection. Okay, this is the first thing you need to know. Then you need to set optional parameters. Okay, why? So we need to optional parameters. If you are, for example, you will be having a slow connection. Okay, for example, you will be having a slow connection. You might want the long connection timeout or read timeout. Okay, long connection timeout means time to make an initial connection to the resources. Okay, initial connection to the resources, that is connection timeout. Read timeout means the time to actually read that particular data. So next, to change the request method to something other than get, you need to use set request method. Okay, to change the request method to something, if you want to change any request you are making, that so that you want to change the what are the request method you are going to use, that if you want to change when you are going to do something other than the get method, then you are going to use the set request method. Third thing, if you want to use network for input, set do init to false. Okay, when you are not using any network for any input purpose, if you are not using any so if you are not using the network, then you need to set do input. Okay, then you need to set the set do input. Okay, so by default this attribute will be true. Okay, by default this attribute will be true. Okay, if the for input purpose, if you are not making the use of a network, then make this attribute to false. Okay, see, for if you have any more methods you can set. Okay, for more methods you can set. How? You can see the HTTP URL connection and URL connection reference documents. I will send you the documents. So third thing you need to know is you need to open an input stream using get input stream method. Okay, you need to open an input stream. If you want to open an input stream, you need to use a method get input stream. So then after using this method, you need to read the response. Okay, whatever the response you are getting through this method, you need to read that response. So response will be read with the method get input stream. Okay, so after getting that response, you will read that response and you need to convert that response into a string. You need to convert that response into a string. So next fourth thing step is to you need to call disconnect to close the connection. You need to call disconnect to close the connection. So disconnecting disconnecting releases the resources held by a connection so that can be closed or refused. For example, if you want to download any file from the internet, so when you are through the app, you are going to do that. If you are going through application, Android application, you are doing that means first in background what happens, it's going to make an HTTP URL connection. Okay, through that class it is going to call a method URL.open connection. Okay, first you need to connect with the network, you need to open that network. Okay, you need to open that connection and you need to go to the get the connection. So for that URL.open connection. Okay, then if that particular task, okay, is too low, too lengthy, or full of slow connection, so you should take care of that slow connection also. Okay, not every time the internet will be a fast. Okay, sometimes it is going to be a slow connection. For that you need to have some optional parameters where you can handle those slow connections. Okay, so then after sending the request, so through the input stream, okay, that is the get input stream method, it is going to get the data. So through this method you are going to read the response. Okay, you're going to read that particular response, whatever the file has been requested. So it is going to read that response, and whatever the data, downloading data, what you have given as a request, you will get that data, and whatever the data we get, that data to be converted into a string. Why? Because that will be working in a that will be performing the operations will be in a worker thread. Okay, where that worker thread is going to pass that data to the UI thread, where the users can able to see it. That's why it need to convert the data into the string. So after performing the operations, we need to properly close the connection. How we are going to close the connection? We need to call the disconnect method. By this method, you are going to close the connection. So if you are not properly disconnected, what all the resources held will be. So that will be that data will be not released properly. Okay, the data will be not released properly. So this is a request example. So this code says the request example, where this example says that send a request to the URL. It is going, in this example, it is going to send a request to the URL and built an URI. Okay, built an URI. So the request obtained, where here in this request, it is going to obtain a new connection. Okay, after getting a new connection, it is going to open the input stream. Okay, after opening the input stream, we need to read the response. Okay, after reading the response should be converted to string. After converting the response to a string, we need to close that connection. So this is the sample code. See here, you have been having a string, that is download URL, where you are going to pass through. You need to use IO exception. So first you need to declare an input stream object of the input stream class to null. Here what happens? Only display first 500 characters of the retrieved web page content. So what all the content it has been retrieved from the web page, you need to going to display the 500 characters in this example. So for that, declared a variable int length is equals to 500. So within the try block, you have been opened the URL, okay, instance of the URL, where you are going to pass the string. Okay, we are going to pass the string. So then you are going to make a connection. Okay, you are going to make an HTTP URL connection. So that is URL.open connection. So this is how you are going to set the connection to read timeout connection timeout. Okay, whatever the connection you are making, connection object dot set read timeout. This will be in the whatever the value you will get, that will be in a milliseconds. Then you are going to query it. Okay, you need to start a query. So connect dot connections. Once you open the connection, you need to connect it. Okay, you need to connect it. So that is con dot connect. So response con dot get response code. So this is the log D. So input stream con dot input stream get input stream method. Whatever you have been connected, whatever the response will be get, it will be in a con object where con dot get input stream. Through that connection, you are going to get the data. So after getting the data, so that will be stored in an input stream. Okay, so that is here we have been declared initially as a null. Okay, so then you are going to convert that input stream into a string. How you are going to convert? By using, there is a method convert input to string, where you are going to pass. In this method, you are going to pass the input stream, whatever the response you have been got through the method input get input stream method, that is stored in the input stream, that you are going to pass. So this is going to be passed here. Then length. Why length? Because it should has to display the 500 characters only, what you have been declared initially. Okay, this method is going to take 2 parameters. After that, you need to return that particular string. So after returning, so where you are going to write the disconnect method? In the finally, whether you have been retrieved or not, finally it should, every time when you make a connection, that much of time you need to disconnect the connection. That is con connection dot disconnect method. So if input stream is not equal to null, input stream dot, we need to close that input stream also. Afterwards, how we are see, if you are posting data over the network, not just receiving data. Okay, see, it is not about only just receiving the data. When you are posting the data over the network also, you need to upload a request body which holds the data to be posted. So what you need to do, okay, what you need to do, you need to configure the connection so that output is possible by connection by calling set to do output true. So we need to set this set to do output to true value. Then second thing is you need to open an output stream by calling get output stream method. You need to call get output stream when you are going to upload a posting the data over the network. So after this, you need to convert the input stream to a string. After that, you need to convert the input stream into a string. Where what is this input stream? So input stream is a resourceable source of bytes. It will be in a source of bytes. Okay. So once you got the input stream, so as I said in this example, you will get the input stream. Okay. So once you get those input stream, whatever the input stream responses you will get, so you need to decode it. Okay, you need to decode it and you need to convert that into a data type. Okay, whatever the input stream, through the input stream, whatever the data you are going to get, those data to be decoded, you need to decode that data. So after decoding that data, you need to convert that data. Okay, for what you are going to convert. See, if the user requires that particular data as a string or the integer, what data type is required by the user, you need to convert that data, based on the data type which is needed. So after then, there is a method convert input to string. So to convert that, there is a method called convert input to string method, where it converts the input stream to a string so that the activity can display it in your UI. So why you will be converting that? So because the data to be displayed on the user interface. That's why you need to convert the data as per the requirement. So the method uses input stream reader. Okay, this particular method uses input stream reader. So where this is an instance, this input stream reader is an instance where it is going to read bytes and decode them into characters. Okay, this method is an instance of, okay, this input stream reader is an instance. Okay, this instance is used by the method convert input string, where this particular instance is going to read the bytes, whatever the bytes it has been receiving, that bytes is going to be read and that is going to be decoded. Okay, after decoding it, this instant is going to convert that into a characters. Okay, this particular code tells about converting that into a and reading that bytes and decoding them into the characters. So this is a method where it is going to use an instance of input stream data. Okay, where we are going to pass the stream here. So whatever the stream you have got in this particular method, that stream is going to be passed over this instance. Okay, so to decode that, you will be using this value and you will be reading that and you will be making that into a string. So where is the step where you are going to convert that particular thing. After that, what you need to parse the result. Okay, you need to parse the result. So when you make a web API queries, okay, when you are making a web API queries, the results are often in JSON format. Okay, the results are often in JSON format. So JSON full form is JavaScript object notation. Okay, whatever the web API queries will be there. So if you are making any request to the web API queries, so all the results from these API queries will be in the format of JSON. Okay, so where JSON is commonly used for transmitting the data in web application. Whatever the data which is present in the web application, so through the JSON we are going to transmit that data. Okay, see for example, sending data from server to client likewise. Okay, so this is a JSON response from HTTP. Okay, it shows the name. Okay, it shows names of 3 menus. It is showing the names of 3 menus in pop-up menu. The method is triggered when the menu is clicked. See here, the method is triggered when the menu is considered the 3 menus which has been used in the JSON format. Okay, So after whatever the results you will get through the listen format, you need to find the value of an item in the response. In the response, you need to find those values. So for that, what you need to do, you need to use a method JSON object and JSON array classes. Okay, you need to use method JSON object and JSON array classes. This is how we are going to use it. So this is our JSON object where you are going to get the, you are going to pass the response string. So JSON array objects, we are going to get the JSON array. Whatever the menu items are there, we are going to pass those menu items in the JSON. Next is managing network state. So next you are going to manage the network state. So how we are going to manage? So making a network calls can be expensive and slow. Okay, whatever the network connection or the network call you are going to connect with the internet. Maybe that network call, whatever the through the connection, what you are going to make a call, that is a network call. Maybe that network call may be an expensive, or maybe that network call may be of a slow. Okay, how it depends on the device connectivity. Okay, it depends if the device has little connectivity. So for example, for every mobile what you will be purchasing, they will mention all the capabilities. So if you want, you can have a check with the specification part. Okay, so we need to aware of the network connection state. So when you are having a network calls, that we need to aware of the network connection state, so that you can prevent your app from attempting that whenever the network is not available, the network call should not happen. So that's why we need to know the network connection state properly. So, and also it is also important that our whatever the app we will be using, so we need to know what kind of connectivity that device is having. You know, what type of connectivity that the device is having that connection. Maybe Wi-Fi networks, where the Wi-Fi networks are faster than the data networks, or maybe the networks are often meter or expensive. Okay, to control when certain tasks are performed. Okay, when this perform certain tasks are going to be performed, or you want to have a monitor the network state. Okay, and respond appropriately. So that's why we need to have a network state. We need to know the network connection state. So how to check the network connection state? Okay, to check the network connection, we need to use the classes. So which are those classes? Connectivity manager class and network info class. Okay, so connectivity manager class and network info class. So where this connectivity manager, the class is going to answer the queries about the state of network connectivity. It tells about the state of network connectivity. Okay, and also this class notifies the application. What it notifies the application? What type of connectivity you are going to using, or if you change from mobile data to Wi-Fi network, this particular class is going to notify the user, notify the application that the network connectivity has been changed. Through this class, we are going to notify the application. So where this class is also going to manage, okay, this particular connectivity manager class manages the all the network which are there in the Android device. Okay, what all the network are there in the Android device, all the networks is going to be managed to the connectivity manager class, where it is going to get the info about the network. This particular class is going to get the info about the network. So when it is going to get the info about the networks, notification will be done through this class only. When you are going to notify that when you are having a change in the network connectivity, when you are having a change in the network connectivity. So network info. Okay, this particular class describes the status of the network interface of a given time. Status of the network interface of a given time. So it means that it describes the status. What status is in of that particular network interface is there. It is going to describe that through this network info class. So maybe either a mobile data or a Wi-Fi data. So this code snippet tests whether the Wi-Fi or mobile data are connected. So this code tells about Wi-Fi is connected or the mobile data is connected. Okay. So here there is a method get system service. Okay. So get. So this is a connectivity manager. We are going to create an object for the connectivity manager where this connectivity manager class is going to use a get system service method. Okay, this method, what does it do? This method is going to get the instance of the connectivity manager. This method is going to get the instance of the connectivity manager. So next is get network info method. Okay, so where the network info class, we have created an object. So this method is from the class network info class. Okay, so this get network info method, it is going to get the status of the Wi-Fi connection. Okay, this particular method is going to get the status of the mobile connection or the Wi-Fi connection. Okay, so this particular get info method, what does it return? It returns the object. Or which object? Network info object, where this particular object contains, what does it contains? It contains the connection status. Okay, this particular it means whether it has been connected to the Wi-Fi or whether it is connected to the mobile. So it contains the network status, whether that particular connection is idle or that particular status is connecting. Okay, likewise, or it has particular connection status is not connected. So this status is going to be get through this method. So next is network info is connected. Network info is connected. So this method returns true, where has been declared through the Boolean. So it returns true when this particular method is returns true whenever the network is connected. Whenever the network is connected to the device, it returns true. So if network is connected, then it can be easily to establish or you can establish sockets and also we can pass the data. This is about connect to the internet. So these are all the steps you need to follow. That is, we need to add a permission to the Android manifest file. Then we need to check the network connection. Then you need to create a worker thread where where we can perform the operations, and after we need to implement the background task. So that is create URI, make HTTP connection. After then you can get you can connect and get the data. So then we need to process the result. Then we need to process the result. When you get the result, we need to pass that result. So this is about connecting to the internet.